one day I just had a very spicy lunch and someone offered me a bowl of rasmalai. And the moment I took that first bite after a very spicy lunch, it just did something in my brain. I felt like there has to be a way in which I should be able to capture this feeling in a audio track. For individual artists and independent artists like me, usually what happens is they make a song and then they sell it to a label or a big established label. Having my own label is more comfortable because then I don't have to cater to the label or sell my song to a label and then share the revenue also.
How would you have done differently the intro music of Jawan?
I couldn't do it better than Anirudh. Yaar. I loved the entire the King Khan track. I loved it. Having all the access to the equipment doesn't make you a good craftsman. It was Rasode Mein Kaun Tha for sure, because it was the first video that suddenly, like within a day, I had crossed 1 lakh followers.
Hello and welcome to this special interview for Deccan Chronicle. My guest today has recently released a song named after a famous Indian desert, which I will talk about in a moment. But that's not the only fascinating thing about him. His initial rise to fame with his Rasode Mein Kaun Tha musical remix, which took a snippet from an Indian TV serial and transformed it into a viral sensation during the lockdown. He followed this success with numerous other compositions such as Bikini Shoot, Kya Karu Main Itni Sundar Hoon. Each one of them showcased his unique ability to turn dialogues and moments into addictive tunes. Yash, congratulations on the release of Rasmalai. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind this track and what it means to you personally? Because people usually relate only as a desert, never thought
Yeah.
of making a song on it. However, they've used it, in some songs for a moment, but never really dedicated a song to it. So,
Yeah.
how did it happen?
First of all, thank you so much for having me, Sachin. It's great to be on Deccan Chronicle. So this, I anyway have I have a huge fascination for food in general as a subject. I am a foodie. I love to eat different kinds of foods, and deserts happen to be one of the most interesting part of my relationship with the with food. And Rasmalai is that one dessert which I genuinely feel that it's like the coldness, the softness, the rust of it. It's just very enjoyable to me. And it was just one day I just had a very spicy lunch, and someone offered me a bowl of rasmalai. And the moment I took that first bite after a very spicy lunch, it just did something in my brain. I felt like there has to be a way in which I should be able to capture this feeling in a audio track. So that is when I thought, if what if I make a song that when you hear the song, it should feel like you're consuming rasmalai, and it has to be sweet, it has to be it has to be soft, and you should feel like it's calming. So that was the initial idea of for the song, and I just followed that, and I made the first riff of the song, and I then started composing the music, and I realized that this song could be that one song which is a love letter from my side to my most favorite dessert, Rasmalai. So that was the initiation of the idea.
You gained your fame through viral mashup videos. What
Yeah.
made you design, what made you decide to make videos through these transitions and, create original contents from existing videos?
It was something that I usually used to do anyway, because basically manipulating with different kind of sounds. And right now also I have this tic tac dabba here. I'm just playing it, just experimenting with the sound, just to generate a new beat using different kind of sounds. So I used to do that right from the start. I've used broomstick sound, I've used chammach ka sound, I've used jeere ka dabba, I've used a paper crushing sound in my audios. So basically manipulating with different kind of sounds is what I really used to enjoy, and I still do. So dialogues and getting something from the internet and getting something which is slightly funny was also one of those things. Ki what if I can make something musical with something which is not related to music at all, and then turn it into a track. So I found that idea very interesting, and the dialogue thing was also one of those experiments which successfully went ahead and people liked it.
Coming back to Rasmalai, Rasmalai
Yeah.
seems to capture a unique blend of emotions and nostalgia. How do you go about translating everyday moments into musical compositions?
So as I said, the one part was initially also I had made a song called Tinka Tinka Barsa, which was I felt that when the first rain happens after a very long time, तो उसकी जो महक आती है, the smell of the soil. I thought that what if I just capture this emotion, this feeling into a soundtrack. So basically, the kinds of emotion I'm feeling, I should be able to capture it into a, जैसे हम photo लेते हैं. So if you see a very good scenery, you just take a picture. So that in that process, the camera is the tool. So in my process, I think if I make something which is audible, and if you hear it, and you should be able to transform to that scenario. So that was the idea. So the Rasmalai, this rain song are all parts of the that emotions, converting one emotion into a MP3 track. That is the idea.
Another interesting thing that I see is you have established your own label, right?
Yeah.
Yashraj Music Originals. It is a
Yes.
significant step in your career, I believe. What motivated you to take this path, and what are your goals for the labels?
So having a label is one thing was very clear, because what happens is for individual artists and independent artists like me, usually what happens is they make a song and then they sell it to a label or a big established label, because the established labels have a very huge distribution system. So when you sell your song to a label, established label, it is they can distribute your songs to number of platforms. They can distribute it. Your song will reach to more number of people. That is the idea. But I thought the kind of songs that I'm making, and in the last few years, I have built an audience for myself, and I have a small distribution system of myself. I have my own audience, and there is no middleman in it. If I make something and I put it on my channel, it will directly reach the audience. So I thought having my own label is more comfortable, because then I don't have to cater to the label or sell my song to a label and then share the revenue also. So it's better if I have my own label and I can directly be in contact with my own audience, and I find that more comfortable and convenient. So having a label of my own really made sense in this scenario for the kinds of song I'll be making next. So under this label, there are going to be different kind of songs. This Rasmalai happens to be one of the first songs which has come out and really done well. But I have released songs before that also. From 2018, I've been making independent songs. So there are going to be different kinds of songs in this label. So I don't want it to sound a certain way. It'll have a certain sense of, once you understand the soundscape of the entire label, you'll be able to make out कि अच्छा ये label का गाना है. But I don't want to keep the genre same. The genre will be different of all the songs, and I'm trying to make the song bank as diverse as possible.
All right. This morning when I was checking your social media, I saw that you have booked tickets for Jawan. Now coming to
Yeah,
Jawan, when are you
yeah.
going for it, by the way?
First day, afternoon tickets I've bought, because I can't wake up too early. But I would love to watch the first show also, but I couldn't get the tickets, so I got the afternoon time because there was a little less crowd that time. So yeah, I'm really excited for the film. Yeah.
How would you have done differently the intro music of Jawan?
I couldn't do it better than Anirudh. Yaar. I loved the entire the King Khan track. I loved it, and Anirudh is ruling right now. I think there's nobody who can touch what he's doing right now. So I thought totally loved it. I don't think I'll be able to do it better than him.
You have a massive following on social media. I
Yeah.
want to know, how has your online presence and fan base influenced your musical journey, and does it affect your decisions?
I try that in my creative process, that it shouldn't affect. When I'm making something, I should purely try to stick to the original the idea of the track. So the YM originals is pretty much that, because there in that sense I am not, when I'm making a YM original song, I am not catering to the mass audience, or I'm just trying to be as honest as possible to the track I'm making, and trying to convey the emotion. So there I don't think of how long the song should be, how small the song should be. I just make it as the song is flowing and the composition is flowing. Whereas it comes to the social media content that I make, there I have to cater to a certain kind of audience which is consuming the content on a certain platform, so that the platform has some there are those are no those are not rules, but those are just uh, some things that you have to keep in mind so that the social media content reaches to more number of people, like keeping the hook, or the people, you have to attract people in the first 3 seconds. You can't let them scroll away. The audio has to be clear, the video has to be vertically short, it has to have some hook value and some kind of repeat value to the reel, so that once they see the reel, they should at least watch it thrice or 4 times before scrolling to the next one. So these are certain things that I think of when I make the social media content. But while making the YM original songs, I try not to think of all these things and make the songs as honestly as possible. So there are certain things that I definitely keep in mind while making the song. So it kind of influences a little bit of my decisions, but not much.
All right. I mean, the journey has not been easy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, you must have faced challenges. Tell me some of the challenges that you faced on your journey to becoming a successful musician and a content creator. And how have you overcome them?
Uh, so the initial challenge is to, now the challenge still on, but the struggle which happens is mostly that I was very fortunate that practical problems like parents not allowing, or parents wanting me to do something else was not there, because my parents were already interested in what I was doing. So they were more than encouraging in what I wanted to do. So that major problem was not there right from the start. Now the main struggle was to get good at the craft. Having all the access to the equipment doesn't make you a good craftsman. Uh, but I have not had a formal training in music, because I'm by education I'm an engineer. So by the time I was doing my polytechnic and engineering, I didn't get don't get time to learn music formally. So all the things I know about music, everything about I know about social media is through the internet, and I've learned through the internet and practiced on the internet by putting out content and getting feedback from people. So the process of getting better at what I do and every day failing at it was the only struggle that I had, and I still do, because there is no fixed path to this. I had no one to tell me what is right or wrong. So I had to just practice, and just come to a point where I could think that initially the basic goal was to get a audio track made without having noise in it, because I used to record on an analog system, and there used to a lot of noise used to come. So the initial days, I just struggled to get the audio track as clean as possible, because it couldn't happen. So I did not know that what they do in the films and albums, they record it on a digital system. That is why there is no noise on it. I didn't know which software they used to use. So I had to do some jugaad and put it in my Windows PC and then record it. So the struggle which happened is over a period of time, just to learn the craft and get it as close as possible, as right as possible. And it still happens. So now, right now, from last 2 3 years, I've been trying to compose songs. So what is composing a melody is an underrated craft. People don't realize that it's not as easy as they show it in the interviews, and as the music directors say कि एक दिन मैं बैठा था coffee shop में and I suddenly got a tune in my head and I made the song. It is not that easy. I realize that it's a lot of practice that goes into making a good melody that will stay in people's mind and heart. So the struggle is just to get things right, and it's still on. I think it will always be on. So I'm into that process, and I'll always be in that process.
Now, let's have a throwback moment. Can you recall a
Yeah.
moment that, when you realize, okay, this has hit, this has gone viral? Which was the
uh,
first one? As far as I remember, I think the first one I saw was the Begin issue.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
one do
yeah.
you think it was?
It was Rasode Mein Kaun Tha for sure, because it was the first video that suddenly, like within a day, I had crossed 1 lakh followers. I was at 7 or 8,000 followers on the day before I put the video. Next day I had 1 lakh, and every day it was growing by 1 lakh. My Insta subscribers on YouTube started growing on twice the speed of Instagram. So within a month I had crossed 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Within a month, I had crossed 1 million followers on 9 lakh followers on Instagram. And that just went on happening because Sode Mein Kaun Tha was the first one. Then I put out Bigni Shoot. Then I put out Twada Kutta Tommy. Then I put Paadi Ho Rahi Hai. So it was in a streak, and people used to just keep sharing it, and the followers were increasing constantly. And the graph on the I get a insight of the Instagram insight where they show how much growth you have had in the last few days. So it had crossed some like 4,000% of growth suddenly. So it was crazy. So that I think Rasode Mein Kaun Tha was that one video which made it happen.
All right. Your work often transcends language barriers and it resonates with a global audience as well. How do you think music has the power to connect people from different backgrounds?
I think people who can hear things will always connect to music, because I read a very interesting thing somewhere. I didn't read. I used to go for to do riyaz to a Guruji here in Aurangabad. Just for a few days, I went just to sur lagane jata tha wahan. And then I went, and he explained me a very interesting thing about human anatomy and music. He gave a very nice relationship. He told me that when you want to um, make a baby sleep, so what you do is you tap his back in a particular rhythm. That is because you want him to feel like he's in the womb again, and you want it to sleep and make him feel safe. Because when he's in the womb, he's listening to the heartbeat of the mother. So that is the heartbeat is. If you don't put it in rhythm, the baby will not sleep. He'll get disturbed if you do like this. It has to be in a certain rhythm. So rhythm is connected to our anatomy so closely that rhythm and music is there right from before our birth. So it has that value to it. Any sound, just sound. If you hear the sound of rain, and just there are 4 hours videos on YouTube which are just sounds of rain, and people put it on and go to sleep. So any sound which will please your ears, I think you will immediately be able to emotionally connect to that object or person. So I think that is the very that core level music connection is there to our human anatomy, and that is what makes it very relatable, I think.
Earlier you mentioned, you have done your engineering. You think it
Yeah.
somehow helps you in music?
Absolutely, 100%. I did not used to think like that before, because I thought I'm wasting time doing engineering. But as I'm moving on, as I'm learning new things, I have seen people who don't understand who have not done engineering, who don't have a technical background. They find it slightly difficult to cope up with the technical things here in music production. Because I have had a very strong technical education, it is slightly easier for me to understand the background at the back end of the things I'm doing. If there is a lag in my software, I know why it's happening. If there is some noise, I know why it's happening. These connections, these impedance matching of my speakers, the placement of my speakers, very small little things, the delay which is happening when I am recording a track, why is it happening, and what are the flaws. It's really easy to understand because I've had a engineering background. And also engineering helps you to think in a certain way. Problem solving gets better if and it teaches you how to think and not what to think. So you can how to think, you can apply to multiple things. So I think that is one of the things that really has helped me.
All right, as we move towards the end of the interview, the last question I want to ask is, looking ahead, what can we expect from Yashraj Mukhate in terms of future projects, both in terms of music and content creation?
I think content creation will keep on happening because I'll make funny and entertaining stuff on my social media. I'm very clear about that because that is what that works. I can't make like very serious stuff. People don't care. People don't watch it. People don't want any more serious stuff in their life. They want to have fun, and I will give that on social media. And I also enjoy doing social media content, so that will definitely happen on social media. YM Originals is there, where original songs are going to come, where I'll be collaborating with other artists. One song is already ready, so I think it might come. I don't know when, but as soon as I finish the video recording and everything, that is there. There are some projects that are lined up, which I have delivered and I've done my work. Now they're shooting it, and I don't know when it will come out, but I think mostly probably this year only they'll put it out. So I'm really excited that one of the projects are very interesting. So I'm not allowed to talk about it much, but that is there. And then brand works. I'm really enjoying making jingles for brands. So I do brand work, but there also I try to make original music and not take any dialogue or something. So making jingles for brands is something that I'm really enjoying because it is short. There is a context to it. There is a product that I have to sell in those 30-40 seconds. So it's slightly challenging also, and I'm enjoying that challenge. So yeah, so multiple things, and I hope people like all other things that they have liked my dialogue mashup videos also.
Yashraj Mukhate, I wish you all the very best, and that's a great news for your fans. I hope I get to do another interview with you, when your another interesting content comes. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you so much for having me. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.